Welcome to Love Notes with William Clarks. This is a platform, this is a space where we have nothing but honest conversations. And of course, today we are breaking something that is really very, very important. We're talking about expectations in relationships and the pressure that comes with it. Yeah, we know that relationships nowadays, people go into relationships with expectations, and in return, when those expectations are not managed well, it leads to stress, depression, anxiety. Emotionally, it affects us. Yeah. So as young people, people who are getting into relationships, people who are already in relationships, we face this thing a lot. But look, who is talking about it? But guess what? The good news is that today we have someone in studio who is going to help us unpack this truth, unpack this reality. And the question is, what does expectation do to someone who is in a relationship? And when those expectations are not managed, how does it affect you as a person? And today in studio, I'm joined with a very good friend of mine who is a media practitioner. Anytime now you'll be seeing him in BBC. And yeah, he's really doing an amazing job. He's also a fact checker, and he's into this field of media. But today he's here to give us some love notes.
Yeah.
Afayo, you're welcome to Love Notes.
Well, thank you for having me, William. It's a really big and great honor for me to be here today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can tell us a little bit about yourself. You now have introduced you,
Yeah.
but there's something you may be wanting people to know about you.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Shadrach Bethel Afayo.
Yeah,
I am a Ugandan by birth and origin.
I believe you.
Like you said, I'm a media practitioner, of course, with a background in radio, 3 years as a news anchor, a presenter,
Wow.
and a storyteller generally. I am now here with Media Challenge Initiative, working on the newsroom at Switch Africa. I document and tell stories that are centered on health, money moves, and also a little bit of creatives. I'm not yet married, but I'm not worried because I also know that the future is bright. Yes, so yeah, that's a little bit of background about me.
Okay. Well, so you've heard from the man himself. You see, I was introducing him, but we didn't know those things you have just mentioned.
Okay.
Well, but before we go into this conversation, just to remind you, this show is partnered with MCI Media Hub. MCI believes in storytelling, and they believe that through love and relationships, the world can become a better place, you know. MCI Media Hub gives one of those best services when it comes to media. Talk about live streaming services, talk about hiring of equipments. Do you want a media crew, people to work with? Do you want a space where you can host your podcast? Do you want a space for your conference, you know, your conference meetings, those executive meetings? MCI Media Hub is the place to check out. And of course, they give excellent work. So check out for Media Challenge Initiative. And of course, today, talking about expectations in relationship.
Yeah.
Afayo, we have known very well that every time we get into a relationship, we go with expectations. Yeah?
Yeah.
But I feel like, and I know for sure, as young people, we are suffering from this thing called expectations.
Very true.
And it's one of those reasons why there are breakups.
Yeah.
Because you go in a relationship expecting that, oh, maybe I'm going into this relationship, but this is what I have in mind. And when that is not met or managed well, that's where everything starts dying. So what do you have to say about that?
Gary Chapman talks about the 5 love languages. He talks about acts of service. He talks about things to do with physical touch. I think there's something like words of affirmation in there, quality time. I missed out the other one. But those 5 love languages form what we would call the basis at which our expectations lie, right? So if someone always wants to talk to you, if someone wants to spend a lot of time with you, if someone, you know, is just constantly in need of maybe being phoned all the time, maybe being messaged, it's centered on a certain love language.
Yeah.
I believe that if you really love someone and if you truly love someone, you really need to know their love language. And when you know their love language, you need to learn how to speak it. but also understand it.
Yeah.
Because if my love language is maybe physical touch, and my partner's love language may be quality time, things that have to do, because some people have abusive love languages. Our upbringing environments teach us differently.
Yeah.
Some people are very okay with being in toxic relationships where someone is not going to call them. They'll be like, for me, even if you don't call me, it's
Gumit.
they are gumit, which is quite understandable. But if you meet someone whose love language is actually centered around spending quality time, maybe that kind of person will always want things that have to do with constant communication, things that have to do with just making sure that they are updated regularly on what you're doing, on where you're going.
Yeah.
So that alone forms an expectation on their end, but then it also gives you a duty and it gives you a responsibility on your end as someone who truly loves them, that this is my partner's love language, and given the virtual fact that I really love them and I really appreciate them, I need to really come to the bottom of knowing the things that I need to do to actually come to a level ground, because at the end of it all, you also have a love language that you require someone else to actually listen to, or someone else to speak fluently about. So if you're not going to meet someone at an even ground, at an equal ground, where you're actually going to fluently speak their language, you're going to have struggles. Expectations will always be there. Like, there is nothing in life that doesn't have expectations.
True.
If we are showing up at work, there's something that is expected of us as people who are working. Likewise, if I'm working, there's something that I expect at the end of the day. If I'm not paid at the end of the month, I'm going to raise some questions.
You're going to be somewhere.
You get, yeah. I showed up, I did this and this, I put in my effort. So if I'm putting in effort, I think it should be this way. If someone has put in effort, then the expectations are always higher. Where there is less effort, let the expectations be low. If I am the one going out all the way to make sure that I speak your love language, making sure that I'm showing up for you, making sure that I'm the one supporting you, making sure that I'm doing this and that, in the end, I also expect you to speak my love language. So where effort is higher, the expectation will always also be higher. Where effort is lower, also lower your expectations. If you're the kind of babe who doesn't invest in your man, and then Valentine's comes and
you expect
the one is expecting, then you tie your man and others are receiving flowers. Keep quiet. For you, your investment, the biggest investment has been 10K, in a whole year of dating this guy. Then when others are being gifted, babes who have been there for their men,
then you start putting in status, be like,
hey. By the way, for me, I expected Gucci bag. I expected branded dress, blah blah. No, sit down. So your expectations should also be at the level of your effort you put in.
Wow.
Where there is less effort, let there be less expectation. If you're not investing enough time in a relationship, if you're not showing any effort in growth as a person,
don't expect
people to meet you at a point where you're also not willing to actually match their efforts. So for me, it's going to be draining on my end, because I'm going to be investing in a lot of time, I'm going to be investing in a lot of effort, but then at some point someone breaks. They're like, what is it for? Because yes, much as love is supposed to be pure, effortless, we have those brandings. Oh, for God so loved the world. Of course, we have the biblical references that he died and gave his son. But for me, for so much I love you as a woman, but I have my expectations.
Yeah,
I have my expectations.
So what you're trying to say is that, expectations are there.
Yes.
But it should be at a balanced level.
Yeah, it should be at a balance.
Know when to expect and when not to expect.
William, you need to draw a line on who you actually invest in at a certain level. Even friendships, not just relationships. Even for friendships, you don't have friends on the same level. There are people, because of the level of investment they have in your life, you can never put them on the same level as you put others. That's just how it is. So even when I'm in a relationship with someone, or if I'm dating someone, my level of effort is going to their level of expectation of me should actually be also directly proportionate to the level of effort that they put into the relationship. And that should also be the same thing that I consider for myself. Because if someone is going all the way to do all these things, and then they're meeting you at a point where you're just the person they are dragging along doing everything, it drains that person. Because at the end of it, when you sit down and reflect, you will actually think, I'm actually being used, I'm maybe the one who is putting in a lot. That's where people end up with disappointments. I've invested a lot of time in this relationship. No, you were supposed to read the signs. The signs were very clear. You were putting in a lot of effort. And the expectation went higher. And this person didn't actually match that level of effort that you put in. So now that actually ended into disappointment.
You're helping people.
Exactly. So where people are not putting in effort, also where you're not putting in effort as a person, let your expectations also be here. If your effort is here, your expectations are also going to be here. If your effort is here, let your expectations also be what? So those things of standards, as you set your standards, I don't date men who do this. Let us also first see it in you. If you only date men who drive, make sure you can also afford the price of petrol. It is going higher.
And man, nowadays, it's crazy.
Yes.
It's like sea cruising.
Don't tell us you don't date men who don't drive. When we tell you, you don't have a car, we have accepted. But
we have allowed
afford fuel. I saw someone with a sticker on their car that if you are not going to board this car because if there are 2 modes of payment. You either buy fuel or you go into the other acts of the bed. But there are no free rides. So if your expectation is that you're going to be the one on the receiving end of things, it drains the other people that you're always expecting.
And I feel like it's like one of those things that, you know how, like, honestly, what you've said has a point. You realize that people get into relationship and they think because now this person has, I know very well they have. So I'm going into that relationship expecting to harvest something from it. But we forget that as human beings, there is a lot. I feel like everything in this world is rotated on principle.
Very true.
There's a part of the Bible that says that he who gives is more blessed than
the one who receives.
You realize that the more you give is the more you receive. Now, it's a principle thing. If you don't follow it, don't expect. It's like when you're not a giver, like, why are you expecting?
True.
It doesn't matter whether that person has more or they have less. It's just a principle thing. So you should not ever expect, and I feel like it's one of those things that people like forget. We expect a lot from where we don't even put.
Very true. Yeah. And life generally works and is lived by principle. If you ignore the principles of life, one, you're going to end up frustrated. These things that we see, many of us plunge into depression, anxiety, all these are compounded around the different things that are not, expectations are very big. And every time an expectation is not met, there will always be disappointment, there will be resentment, you'll be heartbroken, you'll be in regrets. And most times when we face this, we actually shift the blame to the other person. Oh, they did this, or they did this. But we don't introspect to kind of ask ourselves, what were my expectations? What was my effort? Okay, then what was their effort? You get? Because your expectations might be way higher than this person's effort. They could be way higher than this person's abilities. And maybe because according to you, you thought they should live up to that standard that you've set for yourself. So as you set these expectations, look at the person you're setting them for. For me personally, there's no way a woman is going to say, put me on a monthly allowance of 1 million or leave a kameza of 100K every day in the house. And she will be happy with that expectation because that is her standard, and that expectation should be for a certain specific type of man. Yes, there are men who can do that, but for me, I can't do it. So my efforts cannot allow me to actually meet your expectation. So now for you, if you have a bracket of expectations that you have, don't carry them and load them on someone you're not sure can actually meet them based on the effort they can actually be able to get to. Load expectations, knowing very well that as I am loading them on this person, they can actually be able to take this. It's just generally a principle. Even when you're carrying weights and you're lifting something, you have limits as a person. You reach a point and something will break you. Yeah.
Also, just like, even when you are, let's say, yes, when you're able to, you're taking expectations to a person, okay, this person I think will handle the kind of expectations I want.
Yeah.
People still do that, but at the same time, You know this person can manage it.
Very true.
But how about if it doesn't meet your expectations
Mm-hmm.
in the way you knew they would do it?
Mm.
Yeah. Because I feel like that comes from in a point where expectations are not met.
Yeah.
How does this affect people emotionally?
Mm.
Lead to stress, anxiety.
Yeah. One, we need to understand and learn that human beings, in their frailty as people, they are very limited and incapacitated. People will always say one thing today and maybe do the other tomorrow. People will tell you, I can do this, I can be able to do this. Then, you know, there are certain things that are way always beyond our control.
Yeah.
There are certain things that are way out of our control. There are certain things that we cannot determine or dictate. If you come in a relationship always fronting what you expect of the other person, and you know that's what actually leads people to those other things, because you place the weight of everything about your living, your well-being, your emotional well-being on your partner.
Yeah.
So if they fail to meet that, then it turns into something that's going to actually leave you very heartbroken and very downcast as a person. One, you need to know that human beings are limited. And when you come to that orientation and understanding, you need to know that there is a certain limit that you can always place on people. That even when they disappoint you, you cannot be surprised or shocked, because you will know that you have left room for that. You know, I'm not saying we should always expect disappointments from people, or we should always be ready to be disappointed by people. But then don't place so much expectation on the other person that when they disappoint you, or when they let you down, or when they can't meet that expectation, you become so broken that life cannot actually move on. There is no one who is worthy losing your life over because they didn't meet something that you thought they should actually meet. So when you're approaching a relationship, to avoid actually having that expectation cloud your mind and, you know, break you and tear you apart, approach it from a point that this person is limited and they're capable of anything. They might do it, they might fail to do it, and then they're not the alpha and omega. It's only God who is able to do all things exceedingly and abundantly. Humans cannot do everything exceedingly and abundantly. So where people fail, know that it's in their capacity as humans to fail. All of us have failed at one point. You have failed yourself, you've failed someone else. And that's just nature, that's how it is. So if I've failed, it means that I failed to meet your expectation, but that doesn't mean that it's my branding as a person, that there are other things that I can't do, or there are other expectations that I can't meet. I just failed in that specific area, and that was based on your expectation of me, because that's something that you placed on me according to you, according to your mind, or maybe according to the abilities that you saw. But then you also ignore the other human aspect, that yes, much as you have that much hope, I also have the ability to disappoint you. Always leave room for disappointment, especially when dealing with humans. Yeah, when you're dealing with humans, this, by the way, straight into the camera, as long as you're dealing with human beings, regardless of who it is, you can say, oh, my mother has never let me down. One day they will let you down. One day the parent will let you down. One day that sibling will let you down. One day that partner will let you down. Don't place so much on people. Don't place so much hope. Don't have so much hope on people that you
put it in God.
Yeah, that you have so much faith and hope in people that at least I know, come hook or crook, this person can't let me down. We are very limited as human beings. It can just take a snap of one thing, one small thing like this, and we are off. And then because you placed your whole entire being on us, you know, we can't meet up to that.
Wow. I first breathe. You're helping us so much. You know how now that we as young people, we have failed to know how to deal with this expectation thing.
Yeah.
Today at least we have something clear on how to deal with it, because it's one of those things that really affects people so much.
Yeah.
Expectation.
Yeah.
It is killing people and draining people. But I'm very grateful that you shed light on that, and you have helped people understand that, okay, sometimes being so expectant can actually lead to even running mad.
Yeah, true.
You can run mad, bro.
True. Very true.
Because of expectation. But at least now we are on a much safer side.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for coming
No,
to Love Notes and sharing with us these wonderful insights.
Thank you for having me.
Last words to the people.
Last words to the people, since the topic is about expectations. Know your partner, because love is here. It has been here since the beginning of creation. And yeah, it is one of the greatest commandments that we have to live with. We just have to accept that it's there. One, like I said, human beings are very limited. And as you place the effort and the burden of your expectations on them, know that anything is capable. Anyone is capable of doing anything. And anything can actually materialize from that expectation. It can either be fulfilled or met. And also the other end of disappointment. Don't place so much hope in people that you end up losing your mind or losing your peace or maybe even losing yourself as a person just because of something that you expect another person to do for you. Make sure that you develop the courage and the strength that if I failed as a person to meet your expectation, you can actually carry on and move on with life, and it will just be a normal thing. Then the other thing, finally, effort, expectation. Where your effort is high, let your expectation also be high. Where your effort is low as a person, also lower your expectation. If you're putting in less effort, whether it's in a friendship or in a relationship, please, please lower your expectations. Do not place high expectations on people when you're actually putting in less effort in everything that you're doing with them. Yeah.
Yeah, it has been Love Notes with William Clarkson. Of course, today we're talking about expectations. Today, you have to take a leave. It has been deep, deep. The gentleman has shared with us something we can deal with when it comes to expectations. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and share. Share. There are many people who need to listen to this. It has been Love Notes with William Clarkson. See you on the next episode. Bye.